Thank you, Laura. Always ahead of me. If you don't have a Laura, get a Laura. Okay. That's all I'm saying. Like she just keeps me on track. Okay, mortgage rates 6.58. So again, we're at a high. We talked about this last week, and it's what made me decide to have today's topic specifically. But it is what it is. It's so fascinating. Who was I talking to? It was another agent, not an EXP. And they had shared something on Facebook, and it was like, when it was 13%, 15 plus years ago, 20 years ago, and like nobody even blinked at it. And now everybody's still panicking at a 6.58. Existing home sales, again, this is a national number. The median is 440, 600. New home sales is just a little under four. The builders are cutting prices. I don't know. I mean, you guys saw, there was so much new construction happening after COVID, and a lot of that inventory has been sitting. So they've been cutting prices and they've been offering incredible incentives. We've talked about that multiple times, that if you have a buyer who feels like they can't buy in today's market, this is definitely something they should be exploring. There's just a lot more opportunity for them there. So resale prices are hitting all-time highs and builders are hitting lows. It's just something for people to take a look at if they've got the time to buy new construction. Go ahead, Ela.
They are also offering higher fees to the
Commission.
realtors.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I mean, I just got a text the other day that some builders offering 4% to a buyer agent, which is not done in our area. So
Yeah.
just something, it's a win-win if it works for your clients. So
Yep. Pay attention, guys. Pay attention. It's a good opportunity. Thank you, Ela.
And some of them offering very good interest rate too. So
They really are. They
yeah.
really are. East Bay specific, right now, median price is about 1.44 million across East Bay. This is mostly Alameda and Contra Costa counties. Um, Contra Costa at about 900, Alameda at 1.3. Oakland inventory went down. That was a significant drop compared to where it was a week ago. I don't know if anybody else is facing this. Insurance right now, whether it's health insurance or it's house insurance, it's just total insanity everywhere. Um, Casey has a friend up in Oregon who is dealing with a fire again. They were dealing with this last year, and last year when the fire came up, their insurance company dropped their fire insurance about 2 weeks before the fires were hitting and stuff. So there's just a lot of insurance drama happening at the moment. So just make sure that buyers that you're speaking to are doing this exploration early, right? Like just so that they have a better understanding about what to expect. All right, and then we changed this based on the Redfin numbers that we're pulling from now, which I really, really love that we have access to this. Oakland specific, Alameda, Contra Costa counties, we saw 4.4% increase in homes sold. We saw a drop in active listings, and the average sale to list price is still at over 100%, 104.3. Buyer demand is converting to closed deals, with the homes sales going up week over week. So we're still seeing, be very communicative with your buyers about stuff that's going over list price, so that when they're going to put in an offer, they're doing it with all of the information available to them. San Francisco specifically, we saw pending sales go down week over week. Average sale to list prices at 110%. 110%. So again, you have a buyer in this particular area. They need to be very aware of that. Coming in under asking is probably not going to get them the deal. Active listings dropped by 18%. So again, just kind of incredible to see, like depending on where you guys are. And it's kind of similar here in Houston, just depending on which part of the place you're in here. And then San Jose, Santa Clara County, active listings went up. So we saw more come on. Median sale price went up 1.1% up, but pending sales went down. Pipeline is just softening. So just things to, this was interesting, 1.6 million over here. So again, this is all available on Redfin. I basically give my Manus, it has a set skill now. It knows to go in this and look at it week over week. These are things that you can create if you've got buyers in these areas, or if you're looking for something to post on social media, or send out a newsletter. This is really great information for people to feel like they have a better understanding of what's happening in their neighborhood or in their area. Super easy to go pull this data if anybody's looking to do that. Sorry, guys. Still got all this going on. Okay, so today's was about stop waiting for rates, right? We have so many buyers right now that are saying, no, I'm going to keep waiting. I'm going to keep waiting. So I wanted an option for what do we say if that's not an option? What if they really need to purchase? What if they're moving for work? What if it's a divorce? What if, what if they're having a baby and they need to move up? Like whatever that situation is. There are other things to consider that can help them because really it's not about the rate, it's about the payment. Right? This is really what they're looking at is like, what is that monthly payment going to be for them? So they're not really waiting for it to drop. They're just waiting to see what they can afford. So I want you to, we're going to give you 5 things today about what we might be able to do. And then we're going to go into them a little bit one by one. 5 ways. And these are things that I want you to make sure that you're communicating to buyers. You're not a lender. You can give them this basic information and tell them to talk to the lender, call your lender and ask them for the specific programs that perhaps you can just keep on a file on your desktop so that you can send them the options whenever they become available. So we're going to go into them one by one here. First one, rate buy down. So my kids just did this, right? They weren't aware of it. I told the lender, I'm like, please talk to them about a rate buy down. They want to know what the opportunities are and to understand it better. And my daughter-in-law is in finance, so like she like nerded out on the math forever. So like make sure that they can see that there's an opportunity. So right, like even a $16,000 buy down is a marketing tool. It looks like about $900 a month to a buyer. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal for a lot of people. So a seller you can negotiate this in your offer. The longer that inventory stays on the market in a specific area, the more open a seller is going to be to something like this. It makes a big difference for a buyer who's wondering whether or not they can afford that house. So they can do it to reduce the buyer's rate. A 2-1 buy down lowers the rate 2 points in year 1 and 1 point in year 2. And a 3-2-1 will spread it across 3 years. This can be very impactful for a brand new home buyer. Somebody who's never done it before, very worried about the interest rates, worried about the payment. It's going to give them a sense of like, hey, I have a little time to adjust, right? I can adjust into this rate over time. So again, it's about $900 a month on a $900,000 home. It's a big number. It's a big number. So if you're not mentioning this to a buyer that maybe comes in as a lead and says, no, Ela, I'm really waiting until the interest rate goes down. I just feel like my payment's going to be too much. Say, hey, listen, the next time we put an offer in, let's see if we can't negotiate with the seller to buy down your rate and give them the numbers. Have the lender explain it to them. They're way better at it than I am. But like, make sure that they're giving them the details about what's possible for them. So $900 a month is a lot, right? That's a lot. Okay, next one, seller's concession. Again, 2 to 3% of purchase price toward closing cost or a rate buy down. Do either, right? But in this case, let's say it's closing cost. All of a sudden, now they've got $349 a month that they're saving, right? It just kind of depends on what it is. It's the same cost to the seller, but it's 3 times the impact for the buyer. Sometimes if they're applying it to the rate, that feels like a monthly amount. If they're applying it to the closing costs, that's one time, right? So like you've got to like see what's most important to the buyer. Are they more concerned about what they're putting down, or are they more concerned about their monthly payment? It can be applied to either. And these are things that you can talk to them about in a buyer consultation about what options are. If they are a brand new home buyer and they're like, hey, I don't have $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to put down, talk to them about the options that are available to them. I know I'm going really fast per usual. I'm always talking a mile a minute by the time we get to this stuff. Okay. Next one, adjustable rate mortgages. This scares a lot of people, but it can be a very powerful tool. Okay. You can adjust it's up to like 1% now on the ARMs. Like it can be a 1% rate decrease over what we currently have. So again, please, if you've got a lender partner, call them. Say, hey, I'm just curious what's going on with your ARMs right now. Can you tell me what they are so that if I'm speaking to a buyer, I know what the interest rate is in that particular thing. Guys, this means that they've got 5 years, sorry, guys, give me 1 second. The last thing I need is more coffee. That's what I have available. Make sure that they understand what it means, right? At the end of the ARM. So again, get your lender involved. If you don't have a great relationship with this person, I encourage you to go and find one and start developing a good relationship. That way, when like mine, he still texts me every week. He sends me the cutest little stuff every week on text messages with like little like phrases and happy things about having a great week. But at the same time, I get an email right after the text comes in, and it's all of their current products. Tell them I want to be on your drip campaign. I want to know the products that are available to my buyers so that if I'm having a conversation this week, print it out. My guy has it. It's one page. It comes in one page, and it's like everything that they've got right now that's currently in place for them. VA loans, right? Jumbo loans, ARMs, all of those things, and it's in one spot. And all I have to do is pull it up, and I can say to my buyers, hey, listen, I've got this lender. Here are the things that he has right now. Someone posted yesterday, and it was I'm in a couple of the Facebook groups for the community I live in, and it was a realtor, and they posted, and it was a great post, and it said, hey, do you know what the credit score is that you need to purchase a home in and around our area based on the home prices, etc. And it said what it was for FHA, what it was for standard, using their lender, and the amount of commentary on that post was incredible. People were like, I had no idea I could purchase a home. I'm paying this much in rent. You think I could buy a home with my credit score where it is? And I was like, it was one post where this person got it from their lender, shared it in this group, and all of a sudden it was like 67 messages of people being like, I had no idea. So I want to make sure that you're talking to your lender and getting this information out to potential clients, because again, guys, people just don't know what they don't know. It's really easy for us to get this information and like spread it to the masses. Lenders are limited to who they have in their database, and you're limited to who you have in your database. You might as well hit both. All right, so call your lender, get the information. ARMs are fully underwritten with strict rate caps, okay? This is not the old 2008 ARMs. It's a much better situation than it was. It used to be dramatic. Back in 2008, it was bad. It was really tough when somebody got to the end of their arm for anybody who was in business back then. It was a scary time, and it's how a lot of foreclosures happened. So it's much more adjusted now, and there's a lot more oversight than there was back then. My parents did an ARM years and years ago, and it worked really well for us. So this is the one we talked about a little bit earlier that I want you guys to start researching. Laura did an incredible job doing research on my entire neighborhood, and there's all of this new construction, and I was like, go find out everything about every single one of the neighborhoods, find out about the incentives, who are the builders, what are they offering, and like I got this incredible spreadsheet as I'm learning, because there's about, I don't know, God, there were what, like 20, 30 different neighborhoods inside of Bridgeland, and they're all named something with lake in it. It's hard to remember what they all are. Make yourself a spreadsheet of all of the different places that are being built right now and check exactly what we just talked about. Incentives. They're offering rate buy downs. They're offering lower interest rates. They're offering big closing cost credits. They're offering commission to agents that they weren't offering. There's a couple of them that don't offer any. So watch those very carefully. There are some builders that don't offer a penny to an agent bringing a buyer in. Make sure you are communicating that with your buyer, okay? Because somebody's got to pay your fee. So before you walk in the door, make sure you've had that conversation. There is a lot of opportunity for a buyer who's struggling with the current interest rate and feeling like they can't afford to buy a home if they are willing to look new construction. And because there's so much inventory, most people think new construction and they're like, I don't have time to wait for that to be built. Guys, it's built. They're just sitting there. They have more inventory than they thought they would have at this point, and it's still considered new construction. Okay, so if you're not looking at this as an opportunity, you really should. This is another great thing to put on social that people are not thinking about. They don't know they can afford more with new construction. They don't know that it's actually inventory still sitting there, and that they don't have to wait 9 months for a house to be built from, the ground up. Put this information out there. Do it in a drip campaign. If you've got 1,000 leads in your CRM, is it going to hit for everybody? No. But if it hits for 2 for you and they're like, I had no idea, can we please talk? it's a win, right? Don't discount that. Okay, so make sure that this is something, who here knows Katie Delasto? Anthony does, right? You know Katie. Yeah, so she's done a lot of work in the past with new construction, and she's been yelling at me for weeks, and I have not done it yet. But she's like, why have you not shown up at the houses that the builders are sitting in, right? They always have somebody, an agent sitting inside those model homes. And she's like, introduce yourself to everyone. Come in with snacks, business cards, whatever it is, make sure they know who you are. And then that way you're developing a relationship with them, and they will start notifying you in advance when there's a new incentive coming, a new rate coming. She's like, look, what else are you doing? You live right there in the neighborhood. You could walk. And she's like, go and meet all these people. And she does recognize that Selena sits at a desk most of the day, and I need to learn to get outside. It's also 105 degrees, I'm not going to lie. But nonetheless, if you have not done this and you don't know a lot about new construction, set yourself 2 times a week. I'm going to go on one day, on like Tuesday after the sales meeting, I'm going to go meet a builder. I'm going to go meet them. I'm going to learn everything about the neighborhood. A couple of weeks ago, we had Will Higgins on our free Friday coaching call, and he does 1 YouTube video a week. And it has generated so much business for him. He's done it consistently for 9 months. But if you ask him what he does, for the most part, he's going to new construction, and he's walking through a couple of the models and recording it. And then he's posting that. And he has a YouTube channel that is blowing up because people just want to know about those neighborhoods in advance of going. And so he is just once a week. He's gone for about 2 hours. He goes to the builder, he goes and looks through the model homes or anything new that's just been constructed, right? A new model, records it, posts it on YouTube, and people are out there looking for those neighborhoods and finding it through the SEO words, right? Easy to do. So if you don't have any other deals happening right now, set yourself a goal. Even just start, like, let's talk about habit stacking. Once a week, say I'm going to go to a new community. I'm going to go introduce myself. I'm going to bring my business cards. I'm going to tell them that I want to learn more about their new construction and what kind of offers they have for buyers. Start developing that relationship. Ask to get put on their drip campaign because that's what they're going to do. And all of a sudden, you're going to start getting all of that information regularly. It's a great opportunity for buyers who are really struggling with the interest rate right now. So, okay, last one. And this one is really powerful. Assumable loans. This is the one everybody forgets. There are a lot of people that bought when the interest rate was like this back in 2020 to 2022. That almost all of them, FHA and VA, are assumable. It's very rare. If you aren't asking this when you've got a buyer that's interested in a house, I would encourage you to start doing that when you call a listing agent. You should all be calling before you submit an offer anyway. So when you're calling, just say, hey, I'm just curious. Does your seller know if it's an assumable mortgage? Is that something they might consider? Guys, that's a big jump between the 6.58 that we have right now. Assumable loans are a great thing to do for a buyer. Pretty incredible, right? And VA does do it.
I heard First Republic loans were also assumable.
Yep. There are quite a few. Most sellers don't know that it is. All they have to do is make one phone call. If you have a listing, ask them. I'm going to tell you, you put that on the listing, you're going to have more offers than you know what to do with. Because it's going to make it a much, much better opportunity for people to be able to purchase it. Okay. Anybody here done one of those yet? Anything assumable? No. We had a buyer for ours in South Carolina. It didn't work out because the VA turned them down because they wanted to pay in Bitcoin and they just weren't familiar with it. But we had our South Carolina house was at 2.8%. And so the buyer came in and they were like, holy moly, we want to do this. It was great. Basically what they had to do was make up the difference on what, because they're going to come in. It's a little different, right? They're assuming it, but then they have to pay the difference. So kind of their down payment is what our equity was in the home at the time. And then the VA had to approve them as a buyer, which normally is just like any other. Now, They don't have to be a veteran to assume a VA loan. This is a common misconception. You do not have to be a veteran to assume a VA loan. You can come and assume. You just have to be approved like you would be any other kind of buyer. You have to have the credit, you have to have, the ratios and things like that. But you don't have to be FHA or VA qualified in that sense in order to assume it. All they care about is that you qualify for the mortgage, and now you're going to be assuming that loan. So if you have a potential listing, start putting this in your questions that you ask a seller at your listing appointment. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you know if your loan is assumable? Okay, chances are they don't. They can make one phone call to their mortgage company and find out. And typically what I tell people is like, when you call them and they say yes, say, could you please send me documentation of anything specific that you would need in order for a buyer to assume the loan? And they will send you a letter about like what's required whenever that time comes. You do have to deal particularly with that mortgage company. So they usually have like, here's your contact, here's who you would call if you have a buyer who's interested, and they give you all of that information. So then say, do I have permission on the listing to state that it's an assumable loan? I'm going to tell you, you're going to get so many more offers as a result. Okay, so keep this in mind, right? Again, this is kind of what we talked about. The buyer must cover the seller's equity gap with cash or secondary financing. So in a lot of cases, especially because of the year that a lot of these happened, it's what they would have been putting down in a down payment anyway, because it hasn't, the equity isn't so much more in just that short period of time, right? Unless it happened to be that they got 2.5% 25 years ago. And then it's a completely different scenario. So something for you guys to really think about. This is out there. There are opportunities for buyers who are very nervous about the interest rates right now. You've just got to think outside the box and tell them, like, I want you to consider that there are other possibilities that might work for you. Most people are, okay, thanks, Warwick. See you later. Most buyers are just jumping on and looking at a mortgage calculator and panicking. That's literally what's happening. And they're like, oh, I can't buy right now. It's up to us to make sure, like, again, that one post in the neighborhood, if you're not joining your neighborhood post in and around your area as well for like communities in Facebook, I encourage you to do that. Now, I tell people, don't blast it. Don't be like salesy. Don't be like throw up on people about real estate. Actually interact. Like somebody asked the other day about for a great restaurant, and I posted there. Am I listed as a realtor? Yes. People can look at my profile and still see I'm a realtor, but I communicate inside of the group. But that one post, look at how much that generated for him. All of a sudden, everyone was interested. They wanted to talk to him. Here's my number. DM me privately. Like, what are the opportunities for me to be able to get a loan? I didn't know I could with my current credit score. Like, those are all things that you're trying to do to generate more business. Okay, I threw a lot at you guys. Thoughts, questions? Oh, here was a great example, right? The payment math based on what's happening. So if it was a $900,000 home, 20% down at a $720,000 actual loan with principal and interest, the difference between them. So standard 30 here comes at about $4,551. 2-1 buy down in year one drops it here down $900 in that first year. A 7-1 arm takes them down to 4,202, right? Because they're going to get usually about 1% roughly of a drop. And seller concession buy down, again, dropping down to 1%. And again, you can negotiate whatever you want for the seller buy down, like depending on whatever it is. So look at the opportunities. Again, this is something you could throw in AI now. If you've got a buyer who says, I'm at 700,000, I'm looking at opportunities, I don't know what's possible, create something like this for them. When I gave this to Manis, it gave it to me on like a $400,000 home because that's what the median household purchase price is in the country. And I said, no, change it to 900,000 because I'm talking to California agents. And so it like reworked this whole thing. So guys, think about how powerful this is for a buyer who's been really nervous, and you say, hey, I know that you're very concerned about the interest rates. I'm just going to send you something to take a look at. And I want you to consider what's on there and call me with any questions. And I'm happy to connect you with a lender who might be able to give you more information. We might be able to get you into a home that you want without that mortgage that you looked up on the mortgage calculator at 6.58%. Okay, set yourself apart from everybody else. Make sure that you're giving them all of the information to make informed decisions. Again, they don't know what they don't know, especially a brand new home buyer. They're just really nervous, and everything on the news is telling them 6.58 is so high, it's so much, right? It's so impactful, and they don't know that they have other options available. Thoughts, questions, feedback? I blew everybody's mind. Woo! Go ahead, Anthony. You were going to say something.
I like it. I always forget to ask, and I do have actually on Falling Star, which will be my listing until I'm dead. I have a 2-to-1 buy down listed in like the comment section or the confidential remarks and stuff. So it's a good idea, and obviously it attracts more people.
Yeah. You're ultimately looking, one, the seller also sees that you're thinking outside the box to get their home sold, right? So that's a big win, as they're telling their friends and family, hey, my agent talked to me about this. This is something we're going to advertise, right? And then and this is the one thing, as an agent for a buyer, please be sure that you're looking at each one of these homes individually to see if it's in the agent remarks, right? There's a lot more information there than some agents are terrible about not putting it in there, but like put it in there and say that there's something being offered, right? It's our job to go and do that research for them. They don't have access to that from Zillow, right? There's a lot that can be put in agent remarks that we need. That's part of our research. That's part of our job, is to go and find them the best possible opportunity. And if we see something that looks like it's in their price range or even just a little bit above, this is where most people make the mistake, is they don't look at those and then go in and see if there's more important information in the agent remarks that we might want to consider. Okay, so look, if we're not doing that, what's to keep them from just using Zillow, right? It's our job to go and do that additional research for them. Any other thoughts, feedback before we wrap up today? No? Anybody feel like, oh, I'm going to go use this now? Anybody going to go call their lender? like, tell them to put you on the drip campaign, guys. My guy's great about it. Every single week on Tuesday, I get the text message from him, and about 5 minutes later, I get an email. And it's just like, hey, this is this week's products. I love it. Like, it's
I'm
really
actually interested to know, because I have 3.1 at our house, in our LA house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually know if it's assumable or not.
Fine.
I
One
gotta
phone
find that
call.
out.
One phone
That
call.
could mean some quick equity for your boy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Do that research on your own home,
Yeah.
right? Tell
Yeah.
your friends and family to do the same thing. It's just good to know, no matter what. Most people don't take that into consideration when they're closing, right? They don't ask, is this eventually going to be assumable? Because that's just not where your headspace is. But it's always good to know. It's one phone call. So, all right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm so glad you participated today. Don't forget, next chapters for next week. Keep going. And then as we get closer to the time, I'll peruse back here and we'll pick another book. I loved what RX said, because I'm a soup vendor, is I'm trying to go through my books again, and like, instead of just reading them like I did in the past with this one, is like, how do I take that one and implement it in everyday life and business? And Casey made that comment the other day when we were at the retreat. She was talking about values assessments and what you can learn about somebody from their environment. And she's like, what you can learn about Selena is that she likes to read. And I was like, I'm typically reading about 5 books at one time. It's a crazy place for my head to be most of the time, but they're all different things. So anyway, everybody enjoy. I will see you next week. Have a great week and a powerful one, and call if you need anything. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Selena.
you. Take
Bye.
care, everyone. Bye.